Hello, welcome to session 35 of the Crossmeet campaign. Previously in Kulthania, the heroes, based on Lady Lasebra's research, trekked through the colossal expanse to Mystic's Blessing, one of the largest mountains in the Dragonback chain. After resting beneath the Great Spirit Tree, they ascended about 1,000 feet to a plateau, which led them into Mystic's Blessing. And inside, they found some remnants of stairs winding its way up inside the mountain, and also blocked tunnels. But they were able to ascend through natural passages up through the mountain, and encountered some, voracious purple worms, big and small, and some not so voracious Zorn who were willing to deal with them. Finally, after climbing pretty much all day, you climbed thousands of feet inside this mountain. You fought a very large purple worm. Tolraun was once again almost killed, but you managed to defeat it and survive. So it is the evening of the 5th of Drawing Down. The Zorn have left the room, sinking into the floor, leaving no trace of their passage. This cavern you're in is kind of conical in shape. There's a natural ramp you came up. There is a set of stairs carved into the wall going around and around the cone up to the peak. And at the peak is a hole about 8 or 9 feet across. It looks like it leads to the outside, although you can feel very little breeze coming in. So you're standing there. There's a massive slain purple worm, and the 4 of you. So if you wish, you can take a long rest here. There is a chance that some more of the worms could show up overnight, but you've slaughtered quite a few on the way up. So let's begin there. I'm going to begin with Tolraun, who was teleported out of this purple worm after being swallowed by it. How are you feeling right now?
I think the phrase teleported out of a giant purple worm sums it up nicely. Horribly is how he feels.
So, what do you think about the current situation? What's going on? You're at the peak of this Mystic's Blessing finally.
Tolraun just wants to. Sorry, one sec. By the way, just feeling a sense of anticipation. Finally, completing this mission quest thing for Lady Lasebra, and right now he's thinking that he can't wait to get back home to Crossmeet, or perhaps even way back home on the East Coast. That's what he's beginning to think.
Right? Maybe search for your old friend. Balmera, you know that you've probably ascended 4,000, 5,000 feet inside this mountain, climbing throughout the day. These stairs that have been climbed, cut into the mountain, you can tell that they're definitely not made by dwarves, and they're functional. They don't have the sort of perfection that the dwarven work tends to.
The finish that we are renowned for. Yeah.
So, what's Balmera's thoughts on the current situation?
She's beat. She's feeling tired, bruised. She's pretty sure one of her ribs has been dislocated. She looks around at the room with the crisp remains of the little worms and the big worm, and she's not feeling too happy if they want to rest here. She looks also to Tolraun, seeing him probably covered in stomach fluid or something. So I guess we move on. Push on. Always forward.
It's up to you guys. As I said, it is evening. Grimm, you're probably covered in a lot of goo as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the first things I take care of. In fact, with some prestidigitation, I start to extract the goo off me. And as I see it kind of land on the stone, it occurs to me that purple worm acid is probably quite useful. So I'm just going to basically kind of conjure up a vessel, of glass, just this kind of glass beaker kind of thing, and I'm using Mage Hand. I just kind of I'm going to push it into the purple worm and begin to try and extract some digestive fluid into it if I can.
Oh yeah, there's tons. Yeah.
So that's kind of what Grimm is sort of focused on. He's not really in a hurry at this point because there's a freaking purple worm here with some pretty incredible acid that's useful, and I'm not just going to leave that behind.
Okay. Jawdat, you'd probably be feeling the cold more acutely than anyone here. It's not freezing, but you're, thousands feet in the air inside of this mountain. Surprisingly, there's very little wind.
Well, it's not too surprising being inside of a mountain rather than being
Fair enough.
outside.
I meant from the opening above.
Right,
Yes.
right. Although the cold is irritating, the current situation with giant purple worms is a little more pressing than that. So probably, he's not feeling it too much now, at least not in sort of the conscious sense, and flexing his hands a little bit and maybe adjusting inside of his armor because it's still chilly because he's not used to wearing the chain shirt either.
Right. So, do you guys want to rest here, or do you want to press on?
Yeah, well, I say to them as I'm sort of basically my hand is sort of pointed towards the purple worm, and they can hear this kind of weird, glurking and scraping inside, yeah, exactly, as the vessel's sort of swirling around and they're trying to scoop digestive matter out of it. I say, if you want, I can put us up a shelter that'll protect us and keep us warm for the night. The little these nasty buggers won't be able to get us.
I think this is probably a good idea.
That sounds good.
No, that some of us are hurt, and there is also a fact that I have expended most of my magical energy, and I know that you have also.
Yeah, that's no doubt there. So, as soon as I get a good sampling from inside, I just kind of bring the little glass vessel out and I just kind of set it down on the stone floor, and I pick up.
There's enough to fill it 100 times over.
Yeah. Well, I'm mainly gonna try and kind of boil it down while we're resting. Get some of the water out of it so it's more concentrated. So once everyone is ready, I kind of I kind of take a piece of chalk and I draw out kind of a rough circle as to where the tiny hut is going to be, and I say as soon as everyone's ready, in here, and I'll get us set up for the night. So as soon as everyone steps inside, assuming they do.
Yeah, I step inside.
Yeah.
And the circle is about 20 feet in diameter, and so I as soon as they're inside, I go over to the chalk circle and I touch it with my finger, and this you just see this kind of shimmer go up around us, and it looks exactly the same as before. But now there's an impenetrable dome over us and on the floor that will keep us safe for the night. Temperature, it's dry in here. The temperature's comfortable, and no creatures can get through it. So we are safe for 8 hours.
Okay. And so, is there anything anyone wants to do this evening?
Well, apart from meditation, I'm gonna sort of, I'm tired. I'm going to get out some salve and start like hitting some of the burned areas on me that from the acid.
Sure.
Mending some of my jacket a bit.
Yeah,
and,
your clothes probably had a few burn holes and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna set up. Can we get, we'll probably have a little fire in here just for comfort, and and I'll set up the vessel like right near the fire, not like in it. I don't want a rolling boil, but I want it warm enough where it'll start to evaporate the moisture out of it and can just boil it, cool it down a bit.
Okay.
And by the way, the outside of this is going to be roughly the same color as the stone, whichever. It's like I assume it's like a dark gray.
Yep.
Color. So, because I can make the outside any color I want. So I just kind of make the outside. From the outside, it looks just like it looks like it's stone. From inside, it's transparent.
Okay. Does anyone have any magic items they don't know all the properties of?
I don't know the rest of the sword.
I'm going to send you that right now. Then. Here, let me just this.
So just to we are sitting in a force field with Grimm boiling a nice soup of stomach acid from a monster.
Yes. That is a fact.
All the wonders and joys of being an adventurer. Balmera will lit her pipe and like make a big puff of smoke around her to kind of at least neutralize, overcome some of the stench coming from the pot.
Okay.
Otherwise, she will be using her magic to clean and mend her clothing.
Okay. You spend a relatively comfortable night. I mean, it's still rock. I don't think this place is furnished. No, the only thing of note that happens during the evening is that you, on several occasions, you hear that grinding, chewing sound of rock, which you now know as purple worms burrowing through rock. You hear that several times over the course of the evening, but nothing threatens you or, bothers your hut.
Okay. Yeah. So. But I think that's all that I do.
So in the morning, you guys gain the benefits of long rest. You're in this conical room. It's about 120 feet. No, less than that. I think it's only about 40 feet in diameter at the base, and it's about 70 feet tall, and it kind of tapers up, and there's stairs going around and around and around up to this hole, this kind of rough circle that's about 8 feet across at the top. And you can see, looks like faint daylight coming through, but it's faint. And there's no detectable breeze coming from it.
Rob, would it be fair to say that I could have gotten maybe 4 vials of the stomach acid, like once it was boiled down and just. All right.
Yeah.
So in the morning, I'm sort of filling these small vials with the stomach acid and the version.
The stairs in this room are intact enough that, assuming they're solid, a person could make their way up the stairs to the hole. In previous rooms, a lot of the stairs have been smashed. In this room, there's only a couple that are broken.
Excellent.
So, yeah. Onward and upward, or
Looks like it.
outward and homeward?
Well, it makes no sense to turn back now. By the way, and he takes 3 vials and he says, "Anyone want a vial of strong acid? Comes in handy."
For sure, man.
High power bladder acid.
Batman looks at the vial and just shakes her head. No,
All right.
that's okay.
Jawdat? Tolraun?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Too soon. I get it.
Okay, so she looks up at the opening. I guess we're going up there, right? I mean, we don't want to go down to the mother worm. Unless this was the mother worm. I don't know.
Well,
Do they come any bigger?
Yes, in fact, I do believe that they do come bigger, and it is not something that we want necessarily to see, ever.
I agree with that. I don't
Yeah,
want to
he's
see
right.
a big.
So,
Upward?
yes.
Yep.
If you want to climb the stairs, you certainly can. You're gonna have to go single file though. Each stair is about 5 feet wide, and because of the angle of the wall, like there's no railing whatsoever either. But the stairs are pretty much like, you can step from stair to stair. So you can absolutely ascend, but more than single file will be difficult.
That's fine.
Okay.
So who would like to go first?
Fine going first.
All right. I will go second.
All right. Okay, so occasionally there's a broken or missing step, but the gap isn't so great that you can't get onto it. When you reach the top Tolraun, you poke your head up through, and you seem to be in a, if you can imagine like a fishbowl turned upside down, made of frosted glass. That's what it looks like to you from the inside. You can also see a door and a small dais. This sphere is about 15 feet across, maybe.
So I'm essentially in like a giant glass bowl.
Here, let me.
We're in a snow globe.
Here's a this would be a view straight down from the top.
Okay.
So this is like a tiny plateau you're on. This plateau is like about 25 by 20, and this thing is 15 feet across. And then you're on the peak of the mountain, and it's above the clouds.
Nice.
But there's no breeze in here. So I'm picturing you as like your head's kind of stuck in the hole, looking around inside.
All right.
But did you say there was another door in here?
There is a door inside. Yep. Let me show you the other picture. You guys see that one? Did it switch for you?
Not yet.
No, I have to stop it and switch it manually.
Yeah.
There. So that's kind of cut away from inside. So there's a hole in the floor. There's a dais in here, and there's a door that's like part of the sphere that like leads out to it. You can.
Sorry. Just so I'm clear, we're in that hole right there, right inside the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like
I see.
halfway up like a gopher. I'm picturing you as like halfway up like a gopher.
Oh, okay. I get it. Huh.
So this would lead back down in the room, and this is like the peak. So
Right.
this door leads to the outside, and there's a dais here, and you can see through this. Even you can feel this room is filled with magic. It's like the equivalent of your hair standing on end, but magically. When you look out, you can see a very, very long way. You can see all the way across the expanse of Dragovar to the north, and to the south you can see the colossal expanse behind you, and below you, beyond where the peak blocks, is clouds.
I kind of shout back over my shoulder. Well, I say loudly back over my shoulder and shout, Jawdat, I think from here we can see your house.
I kind of half-heartedly smile.
I climb into the thing.
So I'll climb out. I guess. Well, unless Tolraun blocks me, climb
Oh,
up.
why would I?
I don't know.
You can enter single file. You could crowd in here. I suppose the four of you could probably just barely crowd in here if you wanted.
How big is the dome again? How big is the sphere again?
15 by 15?
It's 15 feet across in diameter, but
Okay.
it doesn't really have much of a flat bottom other than like the natural.
Right.
So is everyone climbing up the stairs and entering this?
Well, yeah. I'll step in. I want to be able to at least let people, peer in here.
I mean, if Tolraun goes up there and Grimm goes up there, Balmera will also go up there. But if
Okay.
they don't, she can't pass.
All right, if everyone's going in, that's fine.
Is there anything on the dais?
Yes, there is. So this is this weird material that you saw that made up the doors you entered on the plateau. That's what the dais is made of. And the top of the dais is slanted on like a 30-degree angle. It's not a flat top, okay? So it's like a block, but one end is kind of like slanted.
Right.
Now, on this slant are two blue spheres embedded in the material. So like the top hemisphere of each is sticking out of the material. The spheres are about a little bigger than a hand, a little wider than a hand, that kind of thing, in diameter. And you have markings on them. It looks like this. Okay? Huh. You can recognize that this is Elven writing.
Huh.
And that's what you see.
Okay. Well, I'm to make room for the others. I'm going to go over there. I am not going to touch the big blue boobs, but I'm going to examine them closely and look around the dais for any other signs of writing or inscriptions or anything like that. No,
you don't see any. The magic in here is palpable.
Yeah.
It's almost energetic.
Yeah, I don't have quite a smile on my face, but I have this look of excitement on my face, this thrill almost, and my eyes are wide as I look this over, and I'm going to kind of get low toward these hemispheres, and I'm trying to kind of see if there's no light emanating from them, I assume, correct?
No.
Okay.
The top of the dais is about 3 feet tall, maybe. So these, the dais is about 3 feet tall. These are roughly 3 feet off the ground.
So I kind of try to look at it from different angles to see if there's any kind of either more subtle markings on them, or even I'm looking to see if there's any kind of smears like fingerprints, like someone has touched these recently, or at all.
No. The only thing you notice is around the very edge where they meet the stone itself. There's a tiny gap,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not quite in direct contact.
Yeah. So it looks like these things could, if they are indeed spheres, could roll within those sockets.
It's possible.
Yeah.
The rest of you notice that there is a faint handle on the inside of this door.
Huh. A faint handle?
Well, it's just that the material is like frosted glass, but you can see through it, even though you shouldn't be able to because of how frosted it is. So when I say faint, it's like the same material, like it's this exact same color as the rest of the door. The handle, it's not even a handle as opposed to like just a little beveled area that you could put your hand, kind of thing.
So what is this?
Is a door?
No idea.
Uh,
The hole that comes to the floor, does it look like it was broken through, or does it look like it was natural?
Natural. But maybe helped a little bit here and there.
Okay.
You don't see any fresh scratch marks, though. That's for sure.
All right. Well, the left one, actually no, the right hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to reach out with my gloved hand and kind of gently, run my finger along the surface of it.
It seems smooth. I mean, as much as you can tell through a gloved finger.
Yeah. And I'm going to apply a little bit more pressure, and I'm going to try to roll it forward. In other words, the right one has that kind of little arrow at the bottom, kind of in the direction of that arrow. Just try and roll it that way. See if it rolls within the socket.
I'm not confirming that's an arrow, but
I'm not
make a
saying
perception check.
I did say a thing that looks like an arrow.
Fair enough. Make a perception check.
All right. Exceedingly average. Let's see. 16.
Okay, so it doesn't move, but you feel like maybe it could.
Okay. So I feel a little bit of resistance, but there's definitely a hint of movement. Okay, I got you.
It seems pretty sure that it is not like solidly a part of this dais.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for others to do things before I start playing around with them more.
Yeah, toss out suggestions or whatever you guys.
So well, I call it up since Jawdat, I think, is the one who's more likely to know anything about this. I'll I call him over. Jawdat, take a look at this.
Oh, yes, blue orb controls. We use those in the south for our temples.
You do recognize the writing as Elven.
I say, I kind of turn to him and look. You're messing with me, aren't you?
Yes. So, you wanted me to look at them?
Well, sure.
All right. Can I pick up the left one? Like, if I put my hand on it, can I actually physically lift it off the dais?
No.
Well, that is a problem. Does the right one get able to be picked up?
No. Nope. But not because it's too heavy.
Right.
Like, it's not like, if I was stronger, I could pick this up. You don't get that sense.
Sure.
So
it is magical.
It looks almost as if they could roll. If you look at the seam along the edge there. I tried rolling it, but nothing so far.
All right. Well, all right. What do the symbols mean? That one kind of looks like it maybe from a top-down view is the hole, and this one looks like maybe from top-down view is a arrow pointing at door.
That was my thinking, but it seems weird that have. Maybe not.
All right. If I try and grab them both at the same time, can I spin them not this direction, but towards each other? So the left one would go clockwise, and the right one would go counter or anti-clockwise.
neither moves, but like Grimm, you get the sense that maybe they could.
Maybe Grimm needs to use that blood again somehow.
Well, I still have it on me. All right, let's look at the writing. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, hang on. You see, Grimm actually stops like, "Oh, an idiot!" And I slap my head. I say, "Just give me 10 minutes."
I just stare at you for 10 minutes straight while there's an awkward silence in this bubble.
I was just going to say, during that 10 minutes, does anyone want to do anything else? So, as I said, there's a door and there's a hole in the floor.
Well, I will go peer down the hole in the floor.
Well, that's where you came from. You can see the remains of the purple worm and the campfire, maybe.
I think you said I'm going to pee down the hole in the floor. It's like, well, I hated the worms too, but come on.
Oh.
Yeah. And no, I mean I'll mess with the orbs a little bit more, but I'm not expecting anything to happen. I think Tolraun has the right of it that maybe they're only responsive to elvish blood. But I'll try pushing them or whatever.
Okay, so they don't move, but you become convinced that they are not a part of the dais. They are definitely something that's separate from the dais.
Take out a dagger, start trying to pry them out. No.
Well, I actually just like once he sort of does that, I just kind of like open up my my spell book and I kind of set it on the dais like between the two orbs, and so the book is sort of resting against them, and
sure.
and I begin to do a ritual casting of comprehend languages.
Okay, does anyone want to do anything during the 10 minutes other than what Steve did?
I'm going to put my ear to the door and knock on it.
All right, make a perception check. This will be hearing.
Okay. That will be a 20, modified.
Okay, so the knocking seems to be like a dead thudding sound from inside this chamber. From the outside, you hear.
Just as I thought. It's a door. I'll sit back. I wasn't expecting much.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting happiness.
Are you opening the door or no?
No.
All right.
It'll get cold.
Okay. All right, so 10 minutes of chanting and gesticulating goes by, and then what?
Yeah. So as soon as done, my eyes kind of begin to glow this kind of greenish color momentarily, and there's still kind of a faint kind of haze around them. If you look directly at my eyes, there's this kind of deep inner kind of green glow within them, and I close the book, put it back in its elaborate packaging to protect it, and I try and hopefully read what's on the dais.
Okay, so you can understand what it says, but it's kind of like you looking at Shakespearean English. So while you're gonna, I'll tell you what it says in a second. But you also know that it's not the normal way that would be said. Okay?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like Shakespearean. It's very old. It's not not a current language. And so your best translation is Sky Home.
Okay. Sky Home. Okay. Well, it lasts for an hour, so. For an hour, I'll have this little glowing in my eyes, and
Did it work?
Mhm.
Did you figure it out?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it says, as far as I can tell, Sky Home. Not very helpful.
Oh. Is that arrow pointing upwards towards the sky home?
It could be.
I bop that one.
I have tried the bopping technique.
I think we might find that these orbs are unboppable.
I kind of look at the dome around us. Say, I wonder if this turns.
Definitely magical as well.
Yeah.
So, how about drinking more of that blood and
Yeah.
Not the vampire.
I'm not drinking any blood. But I do take out the vial and I sort of like put it and I kind of hold it in my left hand as I touch one of the orbs and kind of try to move it.
Your hands are still gloved, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No change.
All right. Yeah. Not for long though. Yeah. All right. So I will. Thinking that it requires the actual touch of blood, I actually open up the vial, and I kind of like put my finger on the top, tip it back so a little bit of it gets on the end of my finger, and then I tip it back and close it up again, and then I kind of spread it. I take off my gloves to do this, by the way, and then I kind of spread it around my hands a little bit, rub it in so it's not sticky or anything, just to kind of get the the sense of it all over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will put my hands, both of them, onto the orbs.
As soon as you touch them, they both light up.
I'm glad that worked. Otherwise, that would have been really weird.
I let out a shriek and start shaking violently before stopping and saying, "Just kidding."
When you touch them, it's like a non-current flowing through you of magic. It's that strong.
Okay. So, can I get any feeling from it, as far as like what any kind of sense of what flavor of magic it is?
You get a sense of let me see. You get a sense of permanency.
Okay. Well, no, not necromancy. Hopefully not. So I warn everyone to say, you should all hang on to something. And I look around and see there's really not much to hang on to. And I realize that was probably a silly statement.
Yeah, I look at you like you're a smartass.
I am.
I hang on to Balmera.
And I'm going to again try and roll the right one slightly forward.
The right one slightly forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
For some reason I expect this mountain just to take off like a ship.
So this is what happens. So the sphere does roll forward, but to your perspective, to your vision, the positions of the markings on the globe do not roll away from you, like around out of sight. Instead, the line and the arrow each move slightly towards each other.
Oh, okay. All right. I keep rolling it, and again, I'm looking at the dome around us as I do so. I'm just rolling it a little bit, and doing that as I watch them approach each other.
Okay, so the dome doesn't seem to move.
Yeah.
The sphere, they definitely move closer as you move the sphere away from you.
Okay.
But it's very, very gradual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to numerous revolutions before one would be touching the other, kind of thing.
Just as an experiment, I stop and then I try to roll it back.
And the reverse happens. They start to move apart.
All right. So before I actually have them touch or do any of that stuff, I'll now try rolling the other side, the left side, forward slightly.
Okay, I'm just going to pause for a second. Does anyone want to comment on this? I mean, you would all observe this.
After he's rolled it forward, and we don't see anything change, right? Like the landscape.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to knock on the door again.
Okay. Same effect. Same as before.
Again, just as I thought.
Yeah, and as I said, you can see out. You can see hundreds of miles to the north and south, and every direction really. But the only other mountain you can see that's about the same height of you is either really far away, or to the west there's Mustag's Peak, which is where the fire giants live. That mountain is just about the same height.
I look up. Is there a floating castle?
Coming down? Oh. So the little arrow could actually be the mountain. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've stopped feeling up the right one, and so I begin to caress the left one forward slightly.
Did you just lose the internet? Oh, hello.
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry, I broke away.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just asking if I look upwards, and I'm asking do I see anything?
Okay. Yeah. You see mostly blue sky.
Mm-hmm.
Wispy clouds.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So does anything happen when I roll the left one forward slightly?
Yes. The position of that shape doesn't change, but you can see now that it's an eye, and the eye starts to open when you roll it up.
Oh.
Rolling it back down makes the eye close.
Okay.
Tolraun, I'd like you to make me a perception check, please.
Okay. That is a 18.
All right, so with him rolling the left sphere, you see briefly, because I believe he moved it back, a speck appear way over your head.
Do that again.
All right. I say, okay. So I begin rolling it forward again.
The left one, right? So,
yeah.
So this speck you see above gets more and more clear to see, more and more easy to see, but it's still a couple of thousand miles above you, or feet above you.
I point upwards.
I look, and kind of fascinated by it, I begin continuing to move that sphere.
So what is it you're doing now? You seem to have figured out the controls. Tell me what it is you're doing.
Well, I'm assuming that the speck above us is getting closer. Is that my impression?
Right. So as you wheel the right sphere towards you,
yeah,
it gets closer, and the left sphere seems to control the visibility of it.
I see. Okay. All right. So I will increase the visibility and bring it closer.
Okay,
slowly.
It takes a long time, like rolling the right sphere forward, until, as I said, it's gradual progress. And as the rest of you watch, you can see a rectangle of land, about a mile long and maybe a third of a mile wide, slowly descend closer and closer to the peak. When you finally get to the point where the line and the arrow touch, this piece of land is floating just outside the sphere at the same height you're at.
Gotcha.
You can see that this piece of land is, it looks like a city, but an old city. The buildings and houses, sort of small, Roman-style architecture, but small, and they look damaged, at least the ones nearest you. As I said, it's a rectangle, and you guys are looking at the west bar, the long end, if you will.
So, this is an ancient city. Probably Mythalemar.
Yeah, so let's see.
Is this our job done?
Well, we really need to confirm it, don't we?
You think it might be a different ancient floating city?
I wouldn't suggest that, but I'm thinking...
You want to loot it, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Alright. At least you're being honest.
Yes,
Do
I do.
do you think they have similar controls in the city?
Well, do we see any controls outside?
No. I mean, on this little tiny precipice of rock, no. And then just beyond it, as I said, you can see like the start of a city. It's fairly rectangular in shape, and you're at the west end. You see a lot of small Roman architecture-style houses, all of which look damaged.
So, one question. Did it lower in a way that, like, if I were to open a door, I could step onto part of the city immediately?
There's actually about 1 step's worth of rock, and then there's a gap of about 3 feet, and then the land.
Okay. I'm gonna go to open the door.
As soon as you do, the whole interior gets very, very cold. Winds whip around, cloaks start flapping.
Oh, what did I expect?
I look back toward the hole that we came up, and I point my hand towards it, and I kind of wave it around in this circle, and this plate, this circular plate of iron appears and kind of wedges itself. It kind of wedges itself in the opening. King.
Okay.
It's kind of clank, and
Sure.
I say that'll keep anyone else from coming up there for about an hour.
Alright then. Come on.
Yeah, I'll follow Tolraun out.
Okay, it's very, very cold outside.
All right.
Well, at least it's fresh air, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this flat spot here, so the city is floating just beyond that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Once we exit the sphere, I'll take a look around. Did the city come down, or did we go up?
Good. That's a good point. We just kind of assumed the city came down, but
The mountain grew and destroyed
or lifted off the
everything.
ground.
Well, it might be-
Meanwhile, the surrounding countries had a panic because they saw a mountain lift up into the sky.
Okay, I'm back. So yeah, when you step outside, it's quite cold, and there's quite a drop down to your left and to your right there. You go first, Tolraun. When you look back, you can see that from the outside, you can't even see this dome at all, other than the part where you've got the door open and you're looking inside it. But from the outside, it's utterly invisible.
Okay.
What's under us? Is that the mountaintop or
Yep,
just clouds?
yep.
Can I see
it's
the
a very-
Can I see the hole where Grimm covered it with the manhole?
Through the door, you can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay,
Through
so
the open door, that is.
so the island came down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's floating just off to the east there.
Yeah.
You can see the real gray spot, this flat area. That's where it is.
Yeah.
I'll turn to Grimm. Can you
Right here.
summon one of your little friends and maybe make them elevated again in case we are followed? Because if there's a flying island coming down, it's gonna be visible for many, many, many miles.
Well, to be fair, my anything I could summon isn't going to be around here very long.
No, we just need to make it go up again, right?
Honestly, it's going to it's going to take anyone hours and hours to get up here. I think we have a little bit of time before we have to worry about that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if we under city and it begins to move down, we will get a warning that someone is messing with the controls. If it's level, then they can just exit.
I step back in, and I the eye sphere. I kind of spin that back a little bit.
Okay.
Does the city dim at all or become less visible?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a gap that I needed to jump over to get onto the city, right?
It's about 3.
Yeah, and now it's
No.
3 feet invisible.
No.
You
No.
have to have faith, Tolraun. That's how it works.
It's a leap of faith.
How do you know that made it invisible and didn't make it disappear into, I don't know.
Well,
He didn't say he made it invisible. I thought he just said he made it dimmer. You can go and close the eye completely?
no, I didn't close the eye completely.
Oh, so it's like half invisible?
Yeah, translucent.
It's
Yes.
still kind of creepy, like jumping on a ghost.
Well, try and touch it while it's translucent. Maybe it's,
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on it.
I said
All right.
touch
It seems solid, and as soon as you land on it, it no longer seems translucent to you, like that faded look. When you're on it, it seems solid to you. Like it doesn't seem partially invisible.
Do I look translucent to them?
Yes.
Ah.
Okay.
I
Well-
stand up and I start stomping around. Seems pretty solid.
Okay, I'll follow him.
So seeing all this, I'm gonna dial it back so the eye is just barely open. Like,
Okay.
like where you almost have to know where the city is, and then once you do, you can see it. Just
Okay.
a little haze of it. So I roll it back like 99% of the way, and then and then I'll follow them out.
Sure. Assuming you all climb aboard.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see that at this end of the city, the buildings, as I said, are they're all damaged. Some are like 3/4 or more still intact, and some are pretty much rubble. There are little streets that they're not straight thoroughfares. They seem to be more meandering kind of streets here and there that go through the city, and at least in this area, as far as you can see, the buildings are all pretty much the same, varying degrees of damage. Go ahead, Tolraun.
Do they look damaged by, like, an army invaded, or, like, something damaged this place? Or does it look ruined, like it's just really old?
Make me an investigation check.
Sure.
By the way, Rob.
Yes.
Before I stepped on, what I wanted to do was where the door is. I'm gonna close the. Before I close the door, on the ground in front of where the door is, I'm going to write. Let's see. Don't trust the eyes. In common, in chalk.
Okay.
Directly in front of where the door is, and I'm going to and I'll close the door behind us.
Okay, and so you don't even see it as soon as you close the door.
Yeah.
You just see a peek.
Yep.
You don't see your plate either, but you do see the hole.
Oh, interesting. So, and really the point of that is so I remember where the door is. But I'm hoping that by writing that, it'll dissuade anyone else from trying to touch the eyes.
Well, for what it's worth, it's the only mountain peak this high for hundreds of miles. But yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Okay. So you guys are all on board the western end of this floating city. Tashif, Tolraun. You think that most of the damage was probably done from battle a long time ago, and some lesser part of the damage was done from weather and erosion.
Okay, so this looks like elves fought something here. Did Layla's ever tell us what they fought, or do you guys know what was around that back then that could fight elves?
Yeah.
No idea.
Other elves, dragons. Yeah, I imagine there are probably some dwarves that are around.
I look at Balmera. Did your people ever fly up and attack sky cities?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I don't think it was dwarves then.
But
Well-
if you look at the ruins and the damage, does it appear it had been done with any weaponry we might know of, like catapults and stuff?
Yeah, that's excellent. You can make me an investigation check too. It's good thinking. You are, except for the natural blocking of the buildings, you are not protected from the elements here. It's cold and windy.
I have an investigation of 4, so I'll conduct that the butler did it.
Okay.
The butler.
with the candlestick.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Pretty much the same thing what Tolraun learned.
Yeah.
Most of the damage was done by battle and some by the weather.
So, I'm going to move forward. And does this look like a typical city, like with markets and shops and things like that, or is it?
For the most part,
Okay.
that's true. Yep. You see no signs of anyone alive. Moving through the city, you guys are in the middle of the western end. So again, think of a rectangle.
Uh-huh.
You guys are in the middle of the western end. It's about a third of a mile this way, and it's about a mile long this way. Which direction would you like to go? Like, do you want to go to the north side, the south side, or straight through the middle, or?
My inclination should be straight to the middle, but I kind of look to the others and I point to the middle and shrug.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, we'll just. So maybe we could find a way to get to the most important area, probably the center.
Yeah.
I try to think like, wait, is the most important thing in Crossmeet the center? Yeah, the freeze there. Yeah, let's go through the middle.
Yeah. So we'll start.
All right.
We'll start walking straight. And in this case,
Right.
I'll probably end up going in front because I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
So I kind of just start walking forward once I see everyone kind of nod or shrug in resignation, whichever they do.
So the road's fairly narrow here, probably no wider than, or not much wider at least than a single cart, and they're meandering. It's not grid-like. It seems to be much more casual, that kind of thing.
Mm.
As we walk, I'll try to keep an eye out for if we see any like armory or weapons laying around from the war.
Sure. Make me a perception check.
17.
Okay, so a few things you find and notice is you do see occasional tops of bits of broken weapons, basically bits of handle, war hammers, that kind of thing, mallets. Also, you notice that the structural damage seems greater as you reach around the center of the city.
But let's say I find a warhammer. Is it like Dwarven design, or would it be?
Yeah. It does look like Dwarven design, but old. Dwarves don't make them that way anymore.
Okay. Well, this is made by dwarves. I turn to the others. So maybe
What?
the dwarves did invade.
Is that a confession?
This warhammer.
Huh.
Well, this remains of a warhammer in a way.
That's
Well,
that is not this discovery of this place is not going to warm elven dwarven relations by any means.
how
You
did
have
the
no idea.
how did the dwarves get up here?
Well, I guess they all had griffins they would fly on, but I mean, maybe they were the lucky dwarves that got griffins, and some dwarves don't get griffins because they're the unlucky dwarves.
Your people had griffins?
Well, why not?
Did dwarves have griffins?
But
I shrug unknowingly.
I mean, the dwarves run the kingdom, right? So if anyone could have griffins, it would be the dwarves.
I guess. Oh, I guess let's continue on.
Is it also possible that the city was not floating when the war happened? That after most of the population is hurt and killed, the other elves realizing that badness was happening, floated it with access to come back later, perhaps?
That sounds like putting a lock on your house after it's been robbed, don't you think?
But it
Yes,
could be,
if you live in a land where locks are not common, you would not see need for lock until after you've been robbed.
yeah.
Unless there's something valuable still here.
It's possible they could not take everything with them, especially if most people died.
Well, perhaps they couldn't survive up in the sky, so that's why they didn't always fly. Keep the city up there, but perhaps when they lost the battle, they sent it up here to stop the dwarves from getting something. I shrugged.
Well, no matter what, we should find out what we can. By the way, my comprehend languages should still be going, I think, for a little while. So if I see any kind of like shop signs or any other written, anything else written down, I'll try and
All right.
look for it.
There'd probably be bits and pieces. You get a sense that what can I say? It's like a typical city, except there are more schools, more learning places, more social areas than your average town. Like, it's less commercial than most cities might be.
So there's no elven newspaper blowing by with a big headline saying "Dwarves attack" on it.
No.
Dwarves invade. Flee.
Scumbag dwarves attack.
Yeah.
I would like everyone to make a perception roll, please.
Yeah, I fail.
Ooh, I did pretty good on that one. 22.
Okay.
I have a 3.
You have 23, you said? Or 3?
No, 3.
3, okay.
16.
Gotcha, thank you. Alright, so around the middle of town, you've noticed the damage is getting worse. You can see signs of broken weapons here and there.
Okay.
One thing you notice is that amongst things like warhammers and dwarven weapons. You also see swords. Nothing that's of serviceable use, but they're definitely swords, which are typically not dwarven weapons. Long swords.
Okay.
I pick one up and show it to Balmera. Who do you think used this?
I'm gonna guess elves.
Good guess.
Yeah.
You see the longer handle, right? Dwarves will never do something like that.
Are any of the weapons, blood spattered? Are there any bones near any of them? Are there?
Oh, excellent question. You see no bodies, but you probably would be able to find old bloodstains. Sure. Alex, I sent you a message.
Oh, sorry, I was.
Okay, so far we only found weaponry. We haven't found any bits of armor, a helmet, or shield, or something like that.
Sure, bits and pieces, but like just broken stuff.
So the other confusing thing is, if there is fight, one side versus other, one side has to win. If dwarves win, why not pick up warhammers and whatnot, take them with them? If elves win, why leave everything laying in street, even if you are going to hide town, city, whatever? Why just leave everything?
Well, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, that doesn't necessarily have to be a clear winner, right? It could be a win, but it will be like if I won a fight with an orc, I might be able to cut down the orc, but I was so heavily wounded I would bleed out.
Yes, but there is difference between person versus person and army versus army.
But what if the dwarves won in an honest fight and the elves use some sort of foul necromantic magic to cheat?
It doesn't change the fact that why is everything left laying here?
Well, maybe the magic went wrong and it killed everyone.
It is like everyone went away at the same time.
I put one knee on the ground near one of these blood patches and I look at it closely. I say, "Hey, come here, take a look at this."
Right.
I wait till everyone kind of huddles in, and I point to the ground, but I'm not actually looking at it. And I say, we're being watched. I just it looked like an old man of some kind who took off in that direction, and I kind of tilt my head just ever so slightly in the direction I saw him take off.
It'd be northeast.
Okay. Yeah. Could I tell his race by any chance? Did he? I mean, obviously, maybe not there's human and elf, but maybe if he's it would be
well, he wasn't halfling or giant.
Right.
Not halfling, not giant, not tiefling, not dwarf.
Okay,
not
not dragonborn.
Yeah,
not dragonborn.
So probably either a human or elf, or half elf,
or doppelganger.
Aha. So I say
Romulan.
I couldn't tell for sure. He could have been human or an elf.
It would make sense if the elves tried to hide the city, that they left someone behind. If there are, in fact, world-altering magics or items to be had here, you wouldn't just leave it completely unguarded, yes?
Fair enough. Maybe I should go take a quick look around, see if I can spot him unnoticed.
Well, here's the thing. Let's say there is one or more people living here. And for hundreds of years, they have been living on the island in clouds. All of a sudden, it is not in clouds anymore, it is down here.
So they know we are here. They know how many of us are here. At any point, one of us wanders off. I am not so sure that getting. How does Balmera say this? Getting the drop on them is. It does us no good.
Hmm.
I'm not
If
saying
we
get the I'm not saying get the drop on him. I'm saying see if I can get some more information on him.
Yeah,
And
what I'm thinking he's saying is that he might get a drop on you.
Also, there is. We do not know how many there are.
Not bloody likely.
We don't know how
Also-
many there are. We do know that they did not come with us, so they have been here for a while. They know town better than we do. They know
Exactly.
town secrets better than we do. It might just be time to say, hey, we saw you. What the hell is going on? But if you want to try and sneak after him, I will not stop you.
Well, not that is diplomacy isn't a way to approach something, but let's say there's a few guys up here, one guy up here, and he's been alone for how many years? How much sanity do you think he has left?
Yeah.
If you think it's the best idea, Grimm, to go after him, then okay.
But why can't we could try to do both, right? Or we could try to approach him openly. Hey, we saw you. And maybe he wouldn't notice that Grimm is missing.
Right.
Yes,
He
there are.
He probably left because he's noticed Grimm saw him. Why don't we just go about our business, and perhaps if he sees that we mean no harm,
Well, yeah,
he can approach us on his own terms.
define harm. Here is a hidden elvish city of possible treasure, and more than one of us is interested in taking this treasure home. Which
Well,
is the exact reason the city is hidden. So, define
but-
harm.
I mean, so far none of us has been shot by a longbow. So
Well, if is. Yeah. There is either a community of them, they work in shifts, or he has some sort of magic to prolong his life. Or he's very old. But if he's very old, how did he wander off so fast when Grimm noticed him?
I
At
don't
any
know.
rate, these bloodstains getting very boring.
Well, that would definitely suggest Elven rather than human.
Yeah.
They can live quite a long time, as I understand.
The
400 years.
floating hidden elvish city also kind of suggests elves instead of humans.
Indeed.
My vote is to not confront this person just yet.
I mean, let's say that my people some time in the past had to invade the city to stop the Elven menace.
I think at that point, all of us stop, look at you, and arch an eyebrow.
I don't technically have any evidence to.
I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
I have eyebrows.
That's a movie franchise right there. Dwarf Wars, the Elven Menace.
Yeah. And we come here with a dwarf and a half-orc and
Yes.
So what I
Yes.
do is, as we're all kind of huddled around, we're all kind of in this clump of people, and as we're talking, I kind of scoop my hand, pick up a little dust in my hand, kind of rub it between my fingers, and rub it on my hands, and I kind of throw the little dust up in the air above me, in this little cloud, and as it sort of descends upon me, I mutter my incantation, and as the dust falls, it seems like I become more and more transparent, then translucent, and then just vanish.
The city took Grimm.
Okay, so Grimm vanishes before your eyes.
It's okay. I'm right here.
Warning before you do that.
Well, I was trying, but everyone was talking.
So I'm guessing we're
We've
gonna
lost
go.
more wizards.
I'm guessing we're gonna go with the sneaky plan.
Well, we can still move ahead. I'll just be invisible for it.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
let's
just,
move it.
yeah. That's. I get up and I'll also cast a spell. And kind of do a movement across my body, and I'll cast Mage Charm on myself because now
Okay.
she's paranoid.
You never know with them treacherous elves, right?
Right? They have no compulsion
Lion.
shooting you in the back with a longbow.
Those lying bastard elves. Yeah, so I'm not going to chase after the guy, but I'm going to start wandering in, sort of in the direction we were kind of headed, but focusing more on the area he disappeared.
So,
All right. Well, none of the rest of you see that. What do the rest of you do?
Yeah. So I say, okay, let's continue forward. Grimm, because for all I know he's still there. Grimm, why don't you keep an eye out for him, and then if you see him, then you can confront him. Let us know where he is if he comes and spies on us again.
From about 5 feet ahead, he hears, "Sure thing."
And look around.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
So you guys are going to take slightly diverging paths then.
A little bit, yeah. I'm staying kind of in the same area, but spreading out a bit.
But we're gonna move forward, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but
since we can't see Grimm, it's up to Grimm to follow us, I guess.
Well, that's why I was asking if he's
Yeah.
sticking right with you, or if he's taking a diverging path.
Yeah, well, the idea, as I said it, was that he won't be close to us. The three of us will bunch together, and Grimm will basically be like our scout or anti-flanker or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'll be scouting a little bit ahead, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, we will continue.
Okay, so the three of you, as you continue, you notice that the further east you go, there's a higher number of residential places. But the business buildings and the residential buildings aren't a whole lot different in size. The businesses are fairly small. In some of these residences, you can see inside, and you can see that there's some damage, like of things falling off shelves and stuff like that. But there's evidence that there was probably food and supply. Like, it looks like if the place was evacuated or abandoned, they left most everything behind.
I kind of pause a minute and let them kind of catch up with me. I don't make any noise, but except when I start talking to them, like right next to them, which probably startles the hell out of them. I say, "Hey, I just thought of something. We're sort of assuming that the dwarves and elves fought, but what if they fought together against a common enemy that wiped them both out?"
Who do elves and dwarves both hate?
Yeah, demons, devils, giants,
Orcs.
dragons, orcs,
Majority
other
of them are
dwarves,
evil dragons.
other elves, people, secret cults trying to steal magic, everybody.
I mean, dwarves have a long tradition of holding grudges, so we basically have hated everyone at some point in history.
Well, I don't see any scorch mounts from dragons. The gnomes have been damaged, but I don't see any sign that giant footprints or anything.
But have Balmera heard stories about the dwarves being allied with elves at some point? Like,
Well, it's common knowledge that the wood elves, at least of the Great Forge, are somewhat xenophobic.
Yeah, but these are elves, air quotes, right? Like not these are
These are
the primordial
they-
stock. These are what the
Yeah.
Eladrin and everything else came out of.
these are like Neanderthals to humans.
Not quite.
No, I think
More like
Steve's was closer.
More like,
They're probably like-
more like the Atlanteans to humans, I guess.
Yeah, I think that too. They're probably more like the Atlanteans than the Neanderthals. But
So this is kind of like Atlantis.
And it's
You know
so,
of... sorry.
Oh well, I mean, that would then make it possible that the warhammers aren't dwarven at all. They are simply the parts that dwarves learned from. That they predate the.
yeah, that's heresy.
Says the dwarf carrying a rapier. Says the dwarf carrying a rapier.
Touche.
What type of hammer is that one? A
Female
small
dwarf,
pointy
no
one?
less.
When you die, can I give that to me daughter?
That's right.
Well, I'm only carrying this rapier because I was not allowed by the ones in my family to carry a warhammer.
Well, pick up one of those. There's no.
No, I understand. They don't want to give you a real weapon.
Okay, just let her use it.
So we can postulate as many theories as we like, but
Yes.
if we can find the person we saw or that Grimm saw, we could just ask him.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, seeing as how we have found the city, but that was not good enough to turn around and go back to Lady. Lady. What are we actually here for?
Well, as Grimm said, we're here to partake in the.
Didn't the lady specifically say no, we could not keep what we found?
No, it was kind of ambiguous.
No, she specifically said it. Grimm specifically asked her, and she specifically said no. The fact that you think that's ambiguous explains everything.
Balmera is actually the villain.
Well, I mean,
Again.
I led you here, you fools.
to be fair, Lady Lesava does speak in a weird accent of common, so she's sometimes hard to understand.
So,
Nice
but with the
It reminds me of this old story my grandmother used to tell me. She was, this old man finds a frozen poisonous snake out in the snow, brings it inside and warms it up, and nurses it back to health. And once the snake is healthy, the snake bites him. He's like, I nursed you back to health. Why did you bite me? Yeah, what did you expect? That was a snake.
so yeah, but
So, it's her fault for hiring us.
I'm willing to head back and just tell her that we found it.
yeah, it is strange with the food and other things left behind. Even in wartime, if you are mass evacuating anything, you would take food with you.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Indeed.
I think there's some sort of what did that that guy we met? He
Mr. Gray?
didn't he kind of hint
Insinuate?
that there might be a weapon of magical
Still
destruction?
find
Mass
that
destruction.
weird. How the hell did he know?
So,
Well, I don't know how he knew. I mean, they might have people spying with magic. I mean, that's possible, right, Grimm? Grimm, where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see right behind
yeah,
So, I mean, but
Yeah.
anyways, let's assume that there might be this weapon of magical destruction. And that might been what was released at the end of the war, killing almost everyone on each side, and that's why it's left.
So yes, yes. If this city, town, island was on ground level and was epicenter for learning, is lots of schools and libraries in town, and they had discovered some sort of magic. Obviously, they are advanced in magic because I do not know of anybody else that has ever floated an entire city and made it invisible forever
Well,
with the use of a couple.
for all you know, there
I
are
will kill
tons
you.
of invisible floating cities in the sky.
So it is possible that the fight was over this magical weapon or magical knowledge, and the primordial elves, whatever they are called, decided that the best thing to do was to have everyone leave and send this away until things could be resolved. And this could lead to why there are so many rumors of this place, because if multiple people have to leave, there are going to be some who are not necessarily happy with having to leave. There will be some that tells tales of an old homeland, so on and so forth, and has gotten disseminated. But there were people that had enough belief in the magic that the groups like the Senatsu and people like Lady Lesever have decided to pursue it, some to a fault. I'll leave it to your opinion which one is at fault. But there is enough evidence via word of mouth and perhaps text, like the book we found, that even credible individuals, such as the government, if they can be considered credible, have expressed interest in it, a la Mr. Gray, as well as someone dedicating their entire life. That, to me, the dedication of the entire life without necessarily the desire for the information that is there suggests it is a more cultural longing, wanting to know where she came from and things like this. I bet if we were to have asked the right questions, Lady Lesever believes that she is directly descended from some group that lived here, and that is part of her desire to find it, whereas the Senatsu and Mr. Gray are more interested in whatever lies here. So everyone, the reason that food and stuff is left behind, it comes in one of two variations. One, everyone had to leave very quickly, probably magic. Or two, they knew they were going to have to leave and already had a second place set up to go to, which kind of makes sense with the dispersion of elves. You have the Eladrin elves over that way. I just vaguely point in a direction, I'm not even sure it's the right one. And you have the wood elves this direction, and they are what they are because perhaps they did not necessarily see eye to eye. Eladrin were like, oh, we like this magic. It is sad that we have to float it up above everybody because people are too immature to use it. And so they go off and create their little, we're going to study it culture. And the Wood Elves go where they go because they feel that they lost their homeland and what is rightfully theirs because outsiders try to take it. It explains why they are so anti-everything.
Well, sure. I mean that would be a good story, but I think it makes
I'm
more
glad
sense.
you like it.
I think it makes more sense that the elves were up to no good with this weapon of magical
Wait, can
destruction.
we start this conversation by saying that we can come up with as many theories as we can,
Yes,
as we like?
that was my theory.
Well, sure, but I mean, at least if we follow Grimm's example, we can find some trinket or something that will bring us a momentary glimpse of happiness.
I have a theory.
At any rate, yeah.
So,
So the question is, if we go by your theory, then we found Mythalemar and we completed our contract, and we can now go back to the lady and say, we found it. It's right there. Or we could do as Grimm suggests, take a look around, see if we can find something. If something just happens to find their way into our pockets, well, no one will feel sorry for that because they don't know it.
my vote's for the former.
Or we could look around and try and get the answer to all of these questions we have asked since we found a floating invisible island.
Well, sure. I mean, we can do both, I guess.
Well then, is it? I'll kind of lower my voice. Is it still your intention to find this observer?
Yeah, I think it's our best chance of getting more information about this place.
Then, if it makes sense, we pick a building, perhaps a school or a library, and the three of us investigate it. So that we are all in one area. It makes observing us easier, thus finding the observer even easier.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
So if you could point at the building that is labeled library or school.
Not too hard to find something along those lines.
I point.
But
All of these waves his arms. All of these.
But bear in mind,
Get to be pointing.
Thanks.
But he's
many of the
invisible,
buildings
so he
are
can't see.
destroyed, or mostly destroyed. So there you can definitely spot one that's say 3/4 intact or something like that. How do you point it out exactly?
I don't. I can't. Well, actually, I can't read languages anymore anyway because I'm using invisibility, which also requires concentration.
Okay.
All right. Well, then we'll just wander till we find a 3/4 intact building that looks investigatable.
One of the larger ones.
Yeah.
Sure. So you guys continue kind of in this sort of eastward trajectory. You're about 2/3 or maybe 3/4 of the way across the city. Grimm, are you sticking with them, or are you taking a different route, or what?
I'm gonna fall back a little bit and walk maybe 20 feet behind them, so that I can get a better view of if anyone is watching them. So I'm kind of looking around at the nooks and crannies and so forth for any kind of movement or face or anything.
All right. So the three of you go in a building that you can see it perhaps at least had books. You're not sure if it was a library or not. There aren't tons of shelves, but there are some shelves, and they're collapsed. And you can see a few books here and there, but there seems a lot more nothing, a lot less books than there should be, perhaps, or a lot less something. There isn't nearly as much, for all the shelving space that there was, there isn't nearly enough scattered on the floor to account for it. And so, Grimm, you take up a position and you watch the three of them.
Yeah, basically, once they go in, I'm going to stay out in the street and kind of try to remain still and quiet because I don't want to risk, giving any kind of sign that I'm there.
Sure.
But if I have to, I'll walk around a little bit to get better views of things. But basically,
keep in mind it's very windy, so it's easy to cover up small sounds, and it's pretty cold. It's pretty cold. You're well up in the sky.
Yeah, so I kind of bundle myself in my invisible warm clothes, and I'll just kind of wander around a bit and see if I can see anyone peering in.
Okay, and the three that are in the building, what are you doing?
Looking around or pretending to.
picking up books and looking at them.
Okay. So you see like a few smashed inkwells here and there. The books are definitely of elven writing. They're old and they kind of fall apart when you pick them up. Probably some loose pages here and there. From outside, Grimm, you see at least the head and upper part of this old figure emerge from a doorway, looking directly at the building where they are. He's perpendicular to you.
Okay. So I'm gonna stare at him for a minute and get a really good look at him. Try and first of all determine his his species.
Well, he's about 5'1". He has long white hair that's in a single a bearded ponytail that hangs down in front of him. He's wearing he's wearing brownish robes. He's got a thick mustache.
Okay. So kind of wizardy.
Yeah. Looks very old.
All right, so I'm going to take advantage of the wind. I wait till the wind sort of picks up a bit, and then I'm going to stalk my way towards him.
Okay.
And see how close I can get.
All right, so you can make me a stealth check with advantage.
Ooh, advantage. I like those.
Well, you're invisible. Makes sense.
That does help. What's my stealth number? A 9 and a 19. I'll take the 19. So 22 total.
All right, so you get about 10 feet from him, and he starts to move, but not in your direction. He actually kind of creeps out a little further out of the doorway, and you can see him sort of creeping slowly away from you, like he's heading to a corner of the building they're in, like the outside corner. He's like slowly like this. His back is pretty much to you at this point.
Okay, but he's back. He's kind of backing in. He's going back into the building that he's peering out of.
No, he left the building he was in, and he's heading toward the building where they are.
Gotcha. All right.
Kind of on an angle.
Okay.
He's creeping away.
Does his robe or whatever, cloak, have a hood?
No, not that you can see.
Okay. Well, I'm going to continue to kind of creep up behind him, and I'm going to grapple him from behind.
All right. You catch right up to him, and your arms go right through him. He turns and looks around. He seems puzzled. Who's there? Who's there?
I whisper back to him. Who's there? Who's there?
Where are you?
I say, I could ask the same of you.
He shakes his head, kind of taps himself on the side of the head, and starts walking away.
Okay. Say, how long have you been here, old man?
Where are you?
I'm everywhere.
I don't
How
see
long have you been here?
Where are you?
I don't see me either. How long have you been here?
He's not in a chair or anything, but he looks kind of like that.
Okay.
He shakes his head again. He seems puzzled. He gets a puzzled frown on his face, and he starts walking towards the corner. Now, the three of you inside, each make me perception check, please.
I can roll it. Can't promise I can make it.
Yeah.
I have a 7.
7 is not going to cut it.
I have more than a 7. I have a 20.
Okay, and Tolraun?
He said BRB 5 minutes ago.
All right, so you, at least, Jawdat, you spot this figure looking around, whirling around, and then sort of moving off, kind of perpendicular to where in the direction you're facing.
Okay.
He seems to be headed for like a corner, the outside corner of a building, the one you're in. He doesn't seem to move very fast.
I mean, does he seem like he saw me?
No. Nope. He was kind of looking in another direction when you looked over.
I look around for Grimm and then remember that wouldn't do me any good.
Don't see Grimm, but you do see Balmera and Tolraun.
All right, and I kind of look in Balmera's direction and go, psst, psst, and kind of nod his direction. Old guy.
I look at him and look at the direction.
Okay, so when you look out at maybe a hole in the wall or a window, you make eye contact with this guy, and he kind of shuffles off. You could call it a run, but it's really jogging speed. He kind of shuffles off out of sight like he's behind a piece of masonry from you at this moment.
All right. Well, when he disappears, old man, why are you watching us?
Why? Why do you bring dwarves to this city?
I
It wasn't by choice.
I whispered to him, he knows. He knows the truth. Tell him.
Why are you
Tell him
here?
the truth.
Yeah, we came looking for answers.
Grimm, he starts swatting at the air, like as if you're a gnat or a bug. You know what I mean? Like it's vaguely in your direction, but it's not.
Yeah.
Obviously, he doesn't know.
Yeah. I think this one can help you.
He is out of
He's
sight of
wise.
the other three of you.
Hmm.
You can still see him, Grimm,
I
because
said,
you're on the other side.
I think this one can help you. He seems wise.
Where are you? Show yourself.
Yeah, in here?
I'm not talking to you.
Yes, but I'm talking to you, and it's very rude that you're hiding behind the wall.
You bring a
Tell
dwarf
the
here and you
truth.
tell me of rudeness?
Yeah. We had to have someone that could, Yeah, I have no good reason. Oh, she is a different type of dwarf. She is a runaway, a renegade. Yeah, I'm not sure what word is.
I am haunted by spirits.
I'm sorry.
Only the truth can set you free.
There are spirits about me. He seems to be kind of looking a little panicky now, Grimm.
So, yeah. How long have you been here, old man?
Why are you here?
We are explorers seeking answers.
Tell him the truth and you shall have peace.
Torment me, spirits. He's waving an arm at the air. He comes into view again of the three of you, and you see him like he's slowly moving away from the building, kind of walking backwards, almost looking around. He seems nervous, panicky.
Look, we mean you no harm. We are not here to hurt you or to bring more dwarves back to the city.
How did you find it?
There are many of, well, I hesitate to say your kind,
But there are people of your people's blood that are seeking this place. Some for good and some for ill.
You lie. There are no more Nadriel.
Yeah, I said of your blood, not Nedriel. They call themselves Eladrin, elves, wood elves, stuck up. Oh, they don't call themselves that, but a lot of us do.
He turns and he runs about 5 feet into a small house that's mostly intact. It's a very small building.
I'll follow him in.
Okay. You see him sitting in a chair. He's leaning forward, barely peeking out the window, and seems shaken, nervous.
I'm assuming he's an Eladrin at this point, or not an Eladrin, but a
Nadriel.
Nadriel. So
I can't see his ears, but he would be a very short human, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking enough at his face. I look at his garb. Try to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Alter Self, which will dispel the invisibility, basically. So what will happen essentially? I will appear as I transform into one of his kind, seemingly before his eyes.
Spirit, you're trying to trick me. There are no Nadriel left. And what are these creatures you bring? A dwarf? Where do you hail from? Why do you torment me?
I put out my hand. I say, "Feel my flesh, old man, and tell me I'm not real."
Okay. He reaches out to touch you, and his hand goes right through you.
Ah. Which one of us isn't real now?
You feel very cold when his hand passes, your hand at least, when it passes through you.
And which of us is not here?
What? I don't understand.
I know.
He puts his head in his hands, and
I know. What happened to this place?
What do the rest of you do?
I guess walk towards the building we saw him go into. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll follow.
So he looks at you all nervously, but he jumps visibly when he sees you, Balmera.
No, before can we see him when we get out?
No, he ran into a little house, but there's no door on the house.
Yeah, but before we get there,
sure.
She'll turn to Jawdat and say, "Do you think I should disguise myself?"
No. He's already seen it's your dwarf. We do not need him thinking that we are trying to lie to him.
Well, it doesn't exactly seem all that, but okay.
Well, if dwarves came in and slaughtered all of your people, you wouldn't be happy to see them either.
So he's sitting in a chair, and he looks up when the three of you, assuming you do this, move to where you can see him through this open door. But he jumps visibly when he sees you, Balmera. What do you want? Why are you here?
I look at him and I say, "I want the truth. What happened?"
Who are you?
Well, we're not here to hurt you.
Well, why are you here then?
To learn about what happened. Nothing more.
Make me a persuasion check.
I can persuade that shit out of him.
So when we see him, he doesn't look elven.
Well, he looks more elven than human. Certainly, he's about 5'1", but you can't see his ears.
Okay.
17.
He doesn't look like a. He doesn't look like a wood elf. Not very much. He looks at you, Grimm, and his face softens a bit. He says, "I am Belamuse."
Ah, Belamuse.
Who are you?
I am Kenhath, and I have searched for this place for some time.
And who are your friends? He looks at the rest of you.
Much has changed since this took place. This
What?
dwarf here is our ally.
I was just going to ask. Okay. How do you guys respond when he looks at you and says, "Who are you?"
Well, realizing that Grimm is currently lying, I wait for him to make the introductions.
Telling a story. Okay.
Realizing that Grimm is telling a story.
Deception is always Grimm's first approach. And you wouldn't want to try truth and straightforwardness. That would be crazy.
It would be. I learned that young.
So I don't say anything, but I do reach out like a water skin to him, offering it to him.
I have not thirsted in a long time.
Well, my name is Faye Billhart, but you can call me Bill.
Yeah, he's gonna do that.
Kenrath, Bell.
Rob, if I reach out with divine sense, does he come back as what I think he is?
I don't know what you think he is.
Undead.
Sorry.
Does he come back as undead?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of take a deep breath and, well, that is what it is.
So.
Do you know how long you have been here?
A long time. A long time.
Do you know why they lifted the city?
It was 497 when we rose into the clouds. The current year is 10,000 or 1,014.
I was like 10,000. Good gosh.
No, sorry.
Oh, we
1,014.
inspected it.
So 550, 560-ish years.
Give or take, yeah.
Do you know why they did it?
We were losing. They wanted to take everything. He glances over his shoulder at the side of the building, but he's looking eastward.
Okay. I note that. I say, and where did they go after the city raised?
Where did who go?
All the people.
Those who lived here.
The Nadriel. They are all dead. All dead.
And what are you? The custodian?
He smiles for the first time since you've known him. That is... Yes.
Good. Well, the things have changed in the world, and this city need not be hidden any longer.
Don't know if I'd say that.
There is always someone who will want our knowledge, our power.
Yes. But now, easy chance for you is a custodian, guardian, to be able to choose who will have that power.
Hmm.
You see, if we could find this place, others will also find it. Not everyone that comes here will be good people. Do you
It's
get
a
back?
shocked look on his face when you say that. Wait, how did you find this place?
Well, there were some books and some other ruins, and
It's
a
been a long journey indeed.
elf lady.
Have you exposed the city?
No, it is still hidden, translucent.
You made it visible.
Indeed.
Oh, there's not much time. He gets up and he moves, leaves the building, and he starts heading east. He's walking quickly, but it's not a difficult pace to keep up with.
Not much time before what?
I mean, old man, if you want to keep it hidden, it's kind of bad design to have the unhidden button on the outside. And
Well, it was inside an invisible sphere protected by purple worms and Zorn at 6,000 feet in the sky. Just saying.
Protected by the ones and so on, or infested by.
Now, just I'd also like to point out, in our defense, apparently it was not hidden that well because a displaced dwarf, a megalomaniac sorcerer, a very good bard, a pig-punching monk, who wielded table legs and stolen books of magic, managed to find it.
Well, anything sounds crazy when you say it like that.
With the help of 30 years of research from Lady Discovered, yes.
Oh, her.
Just saying.
Anyway, in any case, he's heading eastward.
Before I take off after him, I lean over to Jawdat and I say, I think he might deserve eternal rest.
Grimm is the right name for you. He's clearly a threat.
What? No.
We better murder him and take his stuff.
You can't murder the undead. It's
undead.
Yeah.
It's your job to send him to his final resting place.
Actually,
but again,
as a cleric and paladin, I specialize in murdering undead.
In what? In murdering undead?
Technically, I specialize in murdering undead.
Exactly. This is your job.
No. But
we might actually have led the bad guys to this place.
We might have been working for the bad guys.
We are the bad guys. I can this for you.
Well, I mean, the bad guys. I mean, we're the...
Oh, the bad guys. Okay.
We're the good bad guys. Of course.
We're not heroes. We're the other guys.
Why do we have to hurry?
Because he's going to the east and...
No. What? He said it was already too late. What is too late?
Well, that's what we have to find out. For all we know, he's going to drop the city on Crossmeet or something.
He says, you can hear him call from ahead, "There's not much time." And he's walking eastward.
Yeah, I take off after him.
Let's go see what this is about. Yeah,
I want to know what he's going to be doing.
When you start off in that direction, it seems that he's headed for a tower on the eastern end of the city. That now, almost all the buildings in Mythalemar are single-story. A few are two-story, and the odd one is three-story. The tower is the tallest of them all, at being almost 100 feet in height, or maybe a little better than 100 feet in height. As you get closer to it, it seems undamaged and intact. There is he goes inside it, and as you get closer, you can see that there is a patch of land, maybe 20 feet around this tower. It's basically in the corner of the city that has a garden, and it's growing fine. Flowers, not a vegetable garden. So he enters this tower, and he goes up to the door, and he goes through the door of the tower.
I'm going to follow him.
This is an odd tower. It's made of unusual bricks and it has like buildings kind of attached to it. Like a couple levels up, there's a building on the left, and a few more levels up, there's kind of like a building on the right, sticking out like additions to it, if you will. When you walk inside the tower, he let's see. I'm just looking at my notes on the tower. I got many floors. Yeah. So let's see. The ground floor. When you walk in, who goes first? Who walks in first? Oh, the door's closed, by the way. Anyway.
It sounds like Grimm was.
Yeah, I was right after him, so I will pursue him through the door.
All right, so it's a wooden door. It opens towards you. When you open it, you can see this. Obviously, it's more of an octagonal room than circular, or maybe dodecahedron. I'm not sure how many sides exactly, but it's not quite circular. And you can see that there's a set of stairs going up, certainly a circular staircase. But before you even set foot in the tower, you can see that in front of the tower on the floor, there's a large glyph woven into the floor.
Oh, okay.
He stands on the other side of this glyph, and he looks at you, appearing to size you up.
Mm-hmm.
He says to you, "What is your intention in here?"
My intention is to learn what this urgency is and what they're doing.
Well, the city will be found by those who would claim it and its power for themselves. That's why we hid.
I go in after Grimm.
Well, I'm not in. I put my arm out to stop her before she steps in the glyph.
Okay. She looks at you, and he looks at you, and he says, "And what have you, Belle? What do you intend to do here? Are you like him? Would you just seize the city for yourself?"
No, but there might be a slight risk that we have been followed. So, do you have any opportunity? Can you lift the city?
It's possible, but before I let you in here, I want to know what your intentions are. And what are the rest of you? I know you're out there.
Yeah, I'll step in.
I'll walk in.
Are you walking right in on the glyph?
I'll stop before the glyph.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he directs the question at all of you. What are your intentions here? What do you intend to do with Mythalemar?
So, yeah. My intention is to discover what is here, that caused a fight so heinous that destroyed an entire people. After discovering this, I'm going to sit and ponder with my friends and my god's help to determine whether or not such magic or technology should be allowed to re-enter the world. And once it does, if it does, who should be entrusted with it? Because there are many parties that want this. Some of them I know, for the better of existence, should not have it. Others, it is more difficult. But that is my intention.
Make me a persuasion roll. As you are speaking to him, though, I'll tell you this: he smiles broadly at your words.
Like a normal smile or like a crazy smile?
22.
He smiles. So he says to you, "You may enter."
All right, so I walk onto the glyph, and as I step onto it, I turn back and I look at Balmera. Remember the fruit. And then I keep walking.
Sure. So the tower is about 70 feet in diameter, and do you see behind a partial wall a crossbow turret that's mounted and sticking out like a slit in the wall?
Pointed back at the...
Yeah, pointed outward, like to defend the tower.
Okay.
And you see there's a set of stairs going up. And he looks at you, Tolraun, and what of you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with what your friend said?
With this one? Specifically this one? Yes.
This one
I say pointing at
And the rest of you, will you reserve judgment? Will you consider that maybe Mythalemar's secret should not fall into certain hands?
Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree it shouldn't fall into certain hands.
Well, I'm not entirely sure it should fall into anyone's hands, but
But
well, I'm sorry, I have a cat crawling on me. So.
An ancient cat came.
Balmera's gone crazy now. Now Balmera's gone mad. There's a cat crawling on me. I can feel it.
To be honest, I don't trust the lady elf, and I don't trust the human cult, and I certainly do not trust the front people to have this power. I feel it would be better if nobody had this power.
he nods and he says, "You may enter."
I go in.
Okay. So I'm going to say he also lets Tolraun in.
Yeah, okay.
Grimm, he says to you, "Would you seize this power for yourself? What would you do with it?"
What sort of power are we talking about?
Yes. You won't answer my questions. You answer with more questions.
Because you're not giving me any answers.
What is your intent?
My intent is to learn as much as I can about this city.
And then?
What do you mean then?
What will you do with this knowledge?
My purpose is knowledge. It always has been.
See, I have little choice in the matter anyway. You may enter. And he turns and heads up the stairs.
All right. I step through, and my eyes glisten as I watch him go up the stairs.
Okay.
As I see Grimm step in and pass the Griff, I lean into Jawdat. Does this mean we all fucked our one since he let him in?
I look back at you.
I say let me talk to Balmera a second, Jawdat, and I kind of pull Balmera aside. Look, Balmera, and I wait till Jawdat is out of hearing range. I say, this kind of power only comes once in a lifetime. It can be ours. You know that. You can take what the elves once promised.
Yeah, but you know
for
what?
For you, for me.
Yeah, I know, but I have seen the long bears and the silver bears argue over power endlessly, and let me tell you, from my experience, power does not do anything good to people.
Power can do wonderful things if it's in the right hands. And I take her hand and I put it in mine. These hands.
You know, Grimm, you in Dwarven eyes, you're just a youngling. You have not seen all the stuff that I have seen, and I'm sure you will do what you think is good. But this sort of power shouldn't be in anyone's hands. That would be what's best for the world.
I kind of get slightly angry at her, and I kind of shove her a little bit and push her back, and I say, and I thought you had what it took to become a real wizard. And I turn away from her and start up the stairs.
Okay.
What do you mean I'm a real wizard? Well, kinda.
I want to be a real boy.
Meanwhile, talking to Jawdat, if that's how we all felt, why the hell did we come here?
Does anyone else go upstairs?
I go up.
We're all moving up.
All right. When you get to the second floor, it is fairly sparse. It seems to be a big lecture hall. There's another set of stairs going up. There's a window on the second floor. There are plenty of chairs and a few lecterns and a few tables. And there's also a figure besides Bellamus standing against one wall. He seems to be roughly humanoid in shape. He is about 9 feet tall, and he seems to be made of the same material as the tower, the sort of brownish brick color. He's just standing there with his arms crossed. There's no discernible mouth on him. For eyes, they're just like literally look like beads.
Do the eyes glow, or just like stone?
They don't glow, but you definitely, the thing isn't like stock still. It's mostly still.
Okay.
Bellamy says, "We must reach the top, where the controls are."
Okay.
He goes up the stairs again.
There are more stairs?
Yeah, there's 7 floors to the tower, or 8 floors technically. Count the top part.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
We'll follow him.
So on the 3rd floor, you see a lot of hallways, and it's fairly narrow hallways, and there's numerous doors. And looking in a few doors, you notice that they each leads to like a wedge-shaped classroom. Bellamus winds a path through it and finds a staircase, and then goes up again. On the 4th floor, you see 3 fairly large laboratories. Well, I mean, the tower is 70 feet in diameter, so take that in perspective. 3 laboratories and a tiny little writing area, and then another set of stairs. On the 5th floor, this is like a proper library. There are shelves that go all around the walls except where the stairs come up, and it's full of books. There are hundreds and hundreds of books lining these shelves. There's a few tables and old candle stubs and things like that. And Bellamus, he's looking to see if you follow. And
I'm following.
when he gets up to the 6th floor, you see there's a hallway leads to the center of the floor, of the floor, and it's circular, and there are 7 doors, and each one of these doors, when you look through a couple of the rooms, you can see runes on the floor of each of these doors. They're otherwise mostly empty except for maybe a small table and chair. When you reach the 7th floor, Bellamus stops not far from the top of the landing, and he pauses and looks around. The Hall of Heroes. And you can see several alcoves around this room. Set within each alcove is a very detailed carving of an elf in a heroic pose, high polished. And Bellamy's looks around and pauses almost reverently, and then he continues. When you get to the top, you see that this floor has 4 small pedestals, not dissimilar from the pedestals, the little daises you saw inside the sphere. 2 of these pedestals contain a sphere each, rather than 2 spheres like the dais you found. On one of these spheres, you see the eye symbol that you saw, and on another dais with a sphere, you see the same sort of a line and cloud and mountain symbol. You see a third dais has looks like a compass marks in it, and the fourth does not have a crystal set into it, but rather a handle lever built into the top of it. So these 4 small daises are in a roughly a circle right in the center of the room, and there's runes along the floor connecting them all. We must get out of here.
How do we do it?
Well, we must raise the city and put it back, but you have given away our position. You have revealed us. He goes over to the eye rune, the eye sphere, and he closes it completely. And
to whom do you expect to see this?
This city is full of magic. It practically radiates magic. Invisibility does not just hide sight; it hides all detection.
Does it indeed?
He goes to the other symbol. When he goes to the eye symbol, yeah, he puts that down closed. When he goes to the other symbol, he's turning it so that they move further apart, and the city raises, but it goes very, very slowly. It raises like maybe 5 feet a minute, kind of thing.
I point to the other one with the compass, and I say, and what does that one do?
Moves in all the directions of the compass.
And that one? Pointing to the one with the last one with the handle.
That separates the tower from the city. The tower can only move very, very slowly while it is attached.
And what happens to the city if it detaches?
I do not know.
I'm going to go over and examine
Wait a minute. Let me finish the description. So also in this room, you see 2 ballista, and they are pointed out. They're on opposite sides of this circular room. They're on the top floor of this tower, and each ballista is odd. It's not like a catapult type ballista, but rather it looks like 4 long straight staves joined by gold bands. So if you can imagine 2 staves, like 4 staves, almost making a square, and then they're connected by these gold bands. And this thing's about 4 feet long and about maybe 10 inches square. These 4 staffs connected by these gold bands. Runes are run down the lengths of the staves, and the bands that connect them. There's one on one side of the tower and one on the other side of the tower.
Okay.
You can see very, very slowly Mythalemar is ascending.
I'm going to go over to the tower one, and I say, what sort of magic does it use?
What? Elven magic.
Huh. I say, may I examine it?
Yeah, Yeah, he nods.
Right. I go over and I begin kind of conjuring near it, and a sphere appears around myself and the dais, and the thing standing up.
Okay. Well, I can't completely melt the dais because it's built into the floor, but...
Well, yeah, but I mean, it encloses around me, and so the dice is kind of projected up into it.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over and... Is there any writing on it?
No.
Is the power of the city mainly in the tower or the city?
The tower is... I don't know.
So we don't.
What
really
are the rest of
need
you
this.
doing? What are the rest of you doing while he's doing this?
Grimm cast a sphere around himself and a dais, right?
Yeah.
Which dais?
The one with the handle, I think.
The one that will release the tower.
Okay. Where is this destructive power?
Were you just pondering that after?
No, she asked the ghost man, the custodian.
Bellamuse, the tower itself is very powerful. The weapons, the books. He points down at the floor, indicating one of the lower floors.
Yes. So we don't actually need the city, do we?
What? That's his response.
What?
We don't need the city, yank.
I turn to Tolraun and I say, we don't need the city. We need the tower. We can bring the tower to her. Don't you see?
I look at Jawdat and I look at Grimm. But destructive power?
This tower, we can set it right down right down at the edge of Crossmeet. This can become the new center of power in front. We can defend it against her enemies using this tower.
So you want to take something that might be the most powerful thing in existence and willy-nilly fly it back to a town that has no guards in a country that was just devastated by a war and give it to an obsessed elf lady because she said so?
Who said it? Who said we give it to her?
Oh, no. I think I understand.
I don't think she's really worthy of this kind of power, to tell you the truth.
I think I liked it better, Graham, when the tower you wanted was a lighthouse.
Well, I was thinking small then.
Well, hang on. If Bellamuse, if we keep raising the tower or the city with the tower, how high can it go? You're muted, Rob.
He says, I don't know. But it's too late.
Okay,
You've already exposed it. You've
Okay,
unveiled
but
Bellamuse, who... Yeah.
Well, think about it. Are none of you curious of what is up there? I mean, if we just keep going, I mean...
No.
no.
No, I am not done exploring everything that is on the ground.
Yeah, okay, so I turn to the guys. Grimm's right about one thing, right? The tower's the thing that needs to be protected, not the city.
Yes.
And since we are the only one in the tower, and anyone that came up with us might be in the city, that makes sense to dump the city.
Yeah.
But what happens if we dump the city? Will it just crash down on the mountain?
So,
Well, he said he doesn't know.
out
Well,
of curiosity,
there's no one there.
Well, only purple worms and that tree. So fuck that tree.
and the things that are living inside of the mountain,
Yeah, the purple worms.
and the
The mud people? But the mud people can just turn to mud, right? I mean,
yeah.
With the arms.
So, you have all seen a catapult, and how it is capable of breaking castles, because a large rock is thrown at the castle.
well, many catapults, but yeah, sure.
Yes, but if we drop a rock the size of a city, how big of a hole does this make?
I don't know, but there's nothing but wasteland out here anyway, so.
And fire giants who we don't like anyway.
Yeah, right.
But
look, we can't turn our back on this kind of power.
if
We can use this.
if the town was not necessary, then why did they not just raise the tower?
Well, there were people living in it before.
There were no people living in it.
Maybe they were sentimental about it. Who knows? The point is, we don't need it now. But we do need this tower. This is what we've been fighting for. This is what we've been working towards our entire time together.
What?
This.
That's what you thought we were doing this whole time?
That's what everyone does.
To be honest,
This kind of power is only put in your hands once in your life, and if you don't take it, it's gone forever.
Okay.
yes, but the last people who did take it, all are gone forever.
Well,
Alex, question. That sphere you cast, is that visible to us?
No, it's pretty much invisible. It's you probably saw it flicker for a moment.
Okay.
It's on Luke's resilience sphere.
Yeah,
Right.
I figured.
So, Miasma, Methuselah, is old man.
Methuselah is good for old man.
Bill.
He looks at you.
Yeah. How is it that your spirit came to be bound to this city and tower?
I'm not sure. When we escaped, the few that were remaining, we fled to the tower. But one by one, they all died.
Yes. So, if you fled to the tower, at what point did the group of you decide to pick up? When the dwarves came, was the city already in the air, or was it on the ground?
I can't remember. There are books below that explain our history, though.
Yes, and I can't read Elvish. Thank you.
I don't remember. I've been here too long.
So,
the city was attacked. The first. We were on the ground when it. We were at the end when we rose. I don't remember.
What type of people have evacuation plan that says pick up entire city and float it above mountain?
People
don't
can
think-
do that.
I-
I
We have,
guess.
we have to keep the knowledge of the city out of the hands of our enemies.
Yeah, I don't think they floated.
So,
I mean,
so it will be.
no, I mean, imagine if the mountain is kind of like the docks at Crossmeet, right? They might have more docks, right?
Like Sky Dog.
Yeah, like a
Whoop.
sky dock.
Hey, Rob, reflecting back, the telescope that we found way back at the that Elvish
Oh.
observatory,
Yes.
is it pointed in this direction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Well, I mean, if they have a lever to detach the tower from the city, clearly this has been some sort of emergency plan. If the city is invaded, they can detach the tower and save the knowledge.
So, yeah. With the bellows, bell,
Oh man.
with the old man's warning that we have made the city visible.
I'm right here.
No,
Hey,
you're not.
He's old enough we could talk about him while he's in the room. It's okay.
That's right.
What do you want to do with Grandpa?
Right, in 5 minutes. Who are you?
What?
But with his warning that the city is visible, and with the telescope from the Elvish observatory pointing this way, if and I do not know if the elves that were there were not the ones that pointed it this direction, then it means that the Senatu, who had the other elf, Fievel, it already knew basically where this was, but did not know necessarily how to get into it. Which would bring us back to either Tolraun or Balmera's point that we simply open the doors for other people.
Yeah, but that's right. That's exactly why
Just,
we should drop the city.
Just one tiny fact. I don't know if this has any bearing on what you're thinking. You did look through the telescope when you were there, and it was just pointing at a patch of seemingly empty sky.
Right. But like I said, if they knew where it was and were just someone knew where it was, they weren't just remotely or just generically looking at that chunk. So
Yeah.
the paranoia is that the Senatu knew where it was and just didn't have a means to get there, versus it's an old Elvish magical school and they used to look back over there to keep tabs on it because if it were ever to reappear, that meant they could go home.
But I mean,
It's also fair to say you don't know that it was pointing exactly at where it was.
Oh,
but
well,
in that
yeah,
general
but-
direction.
You're in paranoia.
Yeah.
but I mean,
I said it's all the more reason to drop the city. Look, if
this
if-
city
if-
doesn't go up and down, right? It also go left, right, and forward,
we
and
can take it anywhere.
We
I
cannot.
thought
No,
I think the tower's the
No.
only thing that moved in the compass directions.
He's right.
Oh,
well, the more reason to.
Yes, just jump on bandwagon of dropping town.
if we drop the rest of the city, then that's to our advantage because everyone who sees it fall will think the city was destroyed, even if they know it's here.
I agree.
No, because anybody who's looking for this is aware that
But is aware of what?
I don't
Like-
think they
Like
are
that
aware of the
lady
tower.
who didn't even know exactly where it was? No, I don't think they know. I think Grimm has a point. We should drop the city and make them believe it crashed.
and then do what? Land a magical tower in the middle of Crossmeet, and no one will be the wiser. Oh,
No,
look at
that's
that.
just, no.
It's an invisible,
An invisible
tower.
magical tower.
No, no, that's just silly. No.
I glare at Tolraun.
This one allies his turn.
If
Not
I
helping.
mean, I don't know why you want to go back to Crossmeet, Grimm, but I think we should drop the city, and I think
All
we
right.
should.
All right, let's take a vote. All in favor of dropping the city? And I put my hand up.
And I think we should take the tower somewhere safe, not Crossmeet, because Crossmeet clearly isn't safe.
Hey,
I mean,
that's
that
fine.
much we can agree on, right? Crossmeet isn't a safe town.
That's brilliant. Great idea. I'm with you.
Where
about
is
you
safe?
Mm,
Where is safe? Where
Well,
is
I
there?
hear this is continent out to the west.
Where is there in the entire world
Called Norbrick.
that is not touched by greedy and devious minds and hands of man that would not want this power?
Well,
we put
imagine
the,
if we
wait,
have.
all we need to do is put the tower somewhere invisible in the sky, somewhere else.
And then we do what? Jump and flap arms?
One of us will have to stay.
And the other ones will... Oh, you're going to land the castle, are going to get out, and then someone's going to come back here and join the old man in the top of the sky for the next... That is insane.
No, I think it's the only option. I agree.
Great! Who's volunteering to live in a tower for the rest of their life?
Me.
No.
I'll do it. Have you seen that library down there?
Yeah, no offense, Grimm, but the amount of enthusiasm you had for the power and the amount of time it took you to get to that level after finding out that it might have been here is too high amount of enthusiasm for too small a time.
Yeah, well.
But I mean, Grimm does have a tendency to get excited, but sure.
Look, why don't...
We haven't encountered anything like this before, not this kind of power.
Yes, but let me ask you, if the tower was defendable by itself, why was there need to hide it? You could just defend it. Because it is not as defensible as you think. If it was, the dwarves would not have killed almost everybody here.
I mean, what is more defensible, a flying island or a flying tower that can go anywhere?
My point is, if it is a great weapon that is so defensible, how did they lose?
Well, clearly because they're elves. I mean, they're up against dwarves. I mean,
if you could set your bigotry aside for 1 second, how did they lose?
Well,
because either it is not as powerful as we think,
okay,
or because it is so powerful that it will constantly attract everything possible.
Well, sure.
And destroy it.
Okay, so let's take that line of reasoning. The city and the tower is attacked by dwarves. They want the tower for themselves or whatever, right? So why didn't they engage the tower and leave the city behind?
Because as a people, they hoped that at some point they would be able to escape the barbaric small-mindedness of petty people seeking power, and that they might be able to exist on this island at least for a little bit. No one wants to go on suicide mission.
But you're forgetting one important factor. Who is the one who actually constructed this mighty power?
Yeah.
You're not going to construct mighty power if you don't want mighty power. I mean, right, Grimm? I mean, this doesn't happen by accident.
Yes, it does. All the time. All the time spells are discovered by accident.
Well, I don't know about that because I'm not apparently a real wizard.
I didn't say that.
Bellamy says, I don't remember why, but this is Param's tower.
Okay.
Anyways, the circumstances, whatever they might be...
Our history books below can give you the details.
Circumstances has led us here. So we are the ones who is, in a literal sense, has the hand on the lever. So it's up to us to do the right thing, and I look at Tolraun, or the not so right thing, and she glances back at Grimm. But I think there is a point in disengaging the tower. It would make the world think that the city of Mythalemar has been lost forever.
Yeah. Actually, the world had pretty much already thought that, but we screwed it up.
Well, whoever is after us, right? The lady, the Agent Grey.
And then what? Then what? We're all going to land, and Grimm's going to live in this tower for the rest of his days, reading Elvish books, one spell at a time, and we're going to go about our lives never speaking of this.
All right.
That's your grand plan.
It sounds like a plan.
Okay, I will place myself in front of Jawdat, but with my back to Grimm, so Grimm can't see what I'm saying. And she will try.
I can't hear. So.
Yeah, but she'll argue at some point about destroying the city and try to use Thief's chant, but with her hands to Jawdat and just saying something, but I'm guessing he doesn't understand that. So she will kind of like.
Although I do, by the way.
Yeah, but
right, that's why his back.
He was signing it, so.
Yeah. And she's kind of like with her eyebrows going like this.
Balmera needs the bathroom. Do you know where that is?
What are you eyebrow gesturing towards?
She's kind of going.
You're not
like
even
this.
gesturing at anything.
She doesn't have an idea. No idea whatsoever.
I mean, does Jawdat have any small brothers or sisters?
Huh?
Yes.
So it would be kind of like if you make let him have his will and we will deal with it later kind of a sign. And I don't.
Okay. Sure. No.
Okay, so as you guys have this debate back and forth, Tolraun, I'm going to say Tolraun, you noticed since you weren't quite so heavily in the debate, looking at one of these windows, which are fairly broad, that these 4 staves stick out of. There's one on each side. Like they're wide. It's like a really, really big arrow slit kind of thing, horizontal, right? So you can see off in the horizon and probably below you several dark specks, many of them, making their way towards
Several
you.
already.
Hey.
Many dark specks
Like-
moving through the air, making their way towards you. They're still like a couple of miles off. Something moving through the air.
many dozens or thousands.
Let's say several dozen.
Yeah, I don't like the look of that.
No,
Okay, no, we're
All right. Well, we're gonna call it right
okay.
Nice.
there. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the game. And next week, the conclusion.
Turn in.